Hey everybody, I wanted to make a video on when it's time to leave a marriage because that can be a very difficult decision to make. For me, in my first marriage, I was of the mindset that when you get married, you do not get a divorce, and divorce is not an option. It's like, I'm in it for the long haul and you're in it to make it work, and we're committed to each other forever. I had grown up with parents that were divorced, and it was awful. There's growing up with divorced parents, there's a lot of resentment between them. They hate each other, for decades. It's really rough. So I definitely did not want to have that for my children. So for me, in my situation, you get married when you're younger, and what I found is young people don't necessarily have the best radar and tools for identifying a good partner. And so you get married, a lot of people think they're a lot more compatible with you have this idea that, hey, I can be compatible with anybody if we just try hard enough, or if there's love there. And for me, having a little bit more experience moving beyond that, I just realized that that's not the case. Love does not conquer all. You can love somebody dearly and they can love you, and the marriage just isn't going to work. So a lot of factors are just misalignment of core values, core vision for what you want to be doing with your lives, and those things can grate on you. So it's very important to define what you want in life and pursue that, and have standards for meeting a partner so that you have the best shot of going the distance. In my situation, after kids had arrived on the scene, our marriage had sustained significant struggles prior to the kids coming on the scene. So anytime kids come onto the scene, if the marriage isn't healthy before that, it's definitely not going to be healthy after it. And two times when people that are like popular times, I hate to say it like that, but there's two times where it's popular to leave in a divorce. And one of those times is when the kids are going off to college or near it, because you feel that your commitment to them in terms of raising them in the context of the partnership has been fulfilled. And so you feel, hey, I'm not happy within this relationship. I really gave it my go for a long time, but I'm just realizing it's never going to work out. And oftentimes it's the woman that makes that decision, and the man is blindsided by it. And so for me, I think there was a snake. For me, I've been in the men's support group space for a while, and you kind of hear from men, and I hear from the men's side of it a lot. So I don't hear typically from the women's side as much. So I know that there's a lot of BS that men do that I'm not privy to, because you're not hearing men kind of be talking about that stuff. But what I hear all the time is, I know that women file for divorce like the vast majority of the time. We're talking like 70 to 90% of the time when women are filing. And you know what the men all say is, the men will say, I was blindsided by it. And it's so cliche, actually, sitting from a place of seeing all of these men collectively come in and filter into the rooms from time to time and talk about their experience, and they say, I was blindsided by it. And from that, they feel a sense of betrayal. Anyways, that's not the point of this video. I can make another video on that one. But popular times are when kids graduate high school, and when the second time is when kids arrive on the scene. When kids arrive on the scene, it's very difficult, because what I have found is that if the marriage isn't going well, it's not going to go well when the kids arrive. But if a woman has a career, and a woman is now heavily focused on the children and doing her best in that arena as well, and juggling the marriage, unfortunately, it is the type of thing where we can't do it all, and particularly if we're attempting to do it all to perfection. And a lot of people set very high standards for themselves, and that ultimately works against them. And what I've found is when women are juggling the career, kids, and the marriage, what I've found is oftentimes the marriage is the thing that's taking the back seat. I certainly have a lot of thoughts on men's need to step up in this time. I know that a lot of men do, in terms of helping with the child care, helping with the domestic things around the house, and help carrying the load, while also, caring for the woman, and then making sure that she's doing okay and she doesn't burn herself out, making sure that she's getting the romantic relationship is prioritized, and she's feeling like she's cared for. But so for me in my situation, a lot of things had gone wrong. Kids arrived on the scene, things got worse, and I'm very proud. I was very, very involved father. Changed a lot of poopy diapers, a lot of pee-pee diapers, and I love my kids, and I really wanted to be a very hands-on dad, and I was, and I'm proud of that. But after the kids came, I felt that was kind of the beginning of the end for the relationship. I felt that things really tapered off significantly, and I felt that my ex-wife started sleeping in a different room, and kind of had made like this, her rationale was I don't want to be closer to the kids. And what I have to tell everybody out there, men and women, is divorces don't happen overnight. They are set into motion from a long, gradual line of deciding to not show up in the marriage, and deciding to be passive and let the marriage go. So for me, in this case, my ex had decided I'm going to sleep in a different room, and I kind of pushed her on that, but I didn't. So okay, well, that makes sense. We'll figure it out at some point. And there's a lot of denial that goes on in marriages that are failing. So I thought, okay, I don't like this. I think it's important for men and women to sleep in the same bed, and for a marriage to work. And I strongly believe in that. I think people try to make a lot of their own rules, and everybody's welcome to their own opinion. For me, I feel that you got to go back to the basics. Certain things work and certain things don't. That's my opinion on it. So I felt, but what ended up happening, which was kind of a direct result of this, is less intimacy, less feeling of being desired, less feeling of being wanted, growing apart, distance, and a feeling of this person isn't really invested in this. So over time, the distance grew more and more. I've made another video about your house kind of starts to fall in disrepair, and things don't get fixed. When the relationship's dwindling and not advancing, you're not talking about fixing up your physical environment or making house projects. Things are going to pot. It's just appliances are breaking down. You get holes in the walls for whatever reason that don't get fixed, and you're not buying new furniture, this, that, and the other thing. But so after years of feeling like a lack of affection, lack of intimacy, it was extremely draining on me. I remember living in a condo, and we had paper thin walls. I remember the couple that lived next door was significantly older than us, and I remember being in bed alone and hearing them kind of be just say affectionate with each other through the wall. This was a somewhat common occurrence, and just feeling like, man, like these people are in their 50s, and they're passionately in love with each other, and they're pleasing each other, and there's love there, and there's warmth there, and I didn't have that, and I was in a much younger couple, and that was just so painful, realizing, extrapolating out into the future of like, I'm trapped in this thing and there's no love. I'm feeling no sense of love, no sense of being wanted or desired, and I'm not seeing my partner change that at all. So anyways, a couple of years pass, and that's how it works in this. Again, having kids is really difficult. You go heads down and you're all about the kids, and you feel like you can't get away from the kids. So if you want to go out on a date night, then you gotta hire a babysitter to do it if you don't live near family or somebody that can come and watch. On top of that, you're already paying for childcare, for young kids anyways, for preschools or daycare or whatever. So you're strapped financially. It's a very difficult time for a marriage to survive.